Hi, I'm Chef Cosmo Meens. Been working with cook culture for well over 6 years. I've been using a high-powered blender for well over 15. We've got the new KitchenAid high-powered blender in here, which I know nothing about. We're going to put it to the test next to the Vitamix 750. And most users are going to want to know that a high-powered blender can cream up greens, cream up nuts. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a green smoothie with oranges, apples, bananas, cashews, celery, kale, parsley. Okay, so we're going to start with the KitchenAid. We've got all the exact same measurements in each one. So we're going to crack the lid off of that. Put all our bits in. Add a cup of water. And blend. Okay, now I've never even touched this machine before, so I got to even just check it out and see how easy to use it is right away. We've got start. So what I'm doing there when I'm watching it is I'm just checking to see that all the little chunks of green and all the little chunks of white cashews are completely gone, so it's creamy and there's no kind of pith or chunks in there. So we got a beautiful creamy smoothie, green smoothie. Looks beautiful. Tastes delicious. Good one. Okay, let's try the Vitamix. Okay, so we just ran the KitchenAid one, turned out really well. I've worked with the Vitamix tons of times, but let's just put them to the test side by side and see how long it took to cream them up in comparison, and then we're going to listen and compare for sound. So one thing I noticed right away in comparison is that I didn't notice because I hadn't had them side by side before, but this blender runs constant and the Vitamix runs in pulses. I don't know necessarily with this particular use whether that makes any difference, but it seems to kind of pull things down a little bit more. The power seems similar though, so let's just give it a taste and see what the texture's like. Interesting. Both fairly equal. This one seems a little bit lighter. That could just be the variability of a little bit of a different water content. So let's just try and see how it sounds next to each other. Okay, so we've got a decimal reader that one of our teammates provided here. We're going to test the KitchenAid and the Vitamix and see how they sound audibly for us, and then also with the decimal reader. The KitchenAid, I've just been notified, is a 3.5 horsepower. The Vitamix is a 2.2. That's always worked excellent. So let's just see if the higher horsepower adds more sound, and we'll try the KitchenAid first. So that was averaging about 97, and let's try the Vitamix. So the Vitamix from the decibel reader is 94, so it's 3 decibels quieter. It's also noticeably less tinny in its sound. So from a auditory sense, the Vitamix is definitely quieter, and they've produced relatively the same quality of product. Okay, so in conclusion, we've just run the KitchenAid and the Vitamix head-to-head green smoothies, which is a classic reason why people are going to be getting these high-powered blenders. My conclusion is that I'm very sensitive to sound, so I definitely like the way that the Vitamix runs from a sound perspective. Taking the lid off, having this little thing to grab onto made it a lot easier. This one I was fumbling a little bit, so that from a, you know, just workability standpoint, taking the lid off was easier with the Vitamix. They both look great on the countertop, but they're different styles. So this one has a lot rounder edges. It's quite beautiful. The Vitamix seems to have a little bit less space, this particular model, for stuff to get caught in the cracks. Now there's also a new digital Vitamix that has nothing on the face. The handles, I prefer the Vitamix handle to hold. I love the straight square shape of this KitchenAid bucket. I like a lot how easy this is to remove and clean. The price point is better on the KitchenAid one, going from $4.50 to $5.99, whereas the Vitamix is even the lowest end Vitamix at $6.50 all the way up to $8.50, somewhere in that range. The lowest end Vitamix is still more expensive than the highest end KitchenAid. So from a price point perspective, you get a high powered blender with a super turbo motor for cheaper than even the lowest model Vitamix. The Vitamix has been around making just blenders for so very long that they really have found a way to, to keep the sound down, because obviously from a consumer perspective, that's one of the main issues with having a high-powered blender in your kitchen, is keeping the sound down. And otherwise, they're performing quite equally. So from a performance standpoint, I would say that they're performing equally. And the rest is all price point and personal preference visually, and how it feels to the touch as well.